Hey guys, what's going on YouTube? How y'all doing tonight? Um, we got the fire going tonight, guys. We're gonna try to keep it going good tonight. We're gonna do our best to work on that, and hopefully we have some luck and not a bunch of wet wood tonight. So, anyway, let's get started. Uh, we are here on what? It's Thursday? Yes. And so I am off now. Thank goodness for 6 days left now. And we're going to do some traveling, but tonight, due to weather, we couldn't get on a little plane today, so the ice and things like that in some areas, so we have to wait till tomorrow to leave. But figured I'd come on and do a little video to kind of refresh and go over a little more things that I talked about today. I didn't have a lot of time. This was a very busy last 7 days, and I was really swamped at work, and it was tough, right? It was pretty tough. And so I hope I didn't mess that up by putting this log on there. I think I might have, so I need to move it over that way. There we go. But anyway, hope I didn't mess the fire up. I want to say, allegedly, in my opinion, these are my thoughts, my theories, my speculation, my free speech, not to reflect the channel. Y'all's comments, y'all's and y'all's alone, not to reflect the channel. We do our research together because we're a big-hearted little family. And little we are, but that's okay. And trigger warning times 100 million. But remember, my big alleged bubble, okay? Big alleged bubble, right? And these are just my theories, my free speech. That's it. Don't take it, just take it as a grain of salt. Put it that way. Anyway, trigger warning times 100 million. Sorry. Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, a 15-year-old with autism from Hendersonville, Tennessee. He is a pretty smart kid from what we hear. He's a chess player. He's really good at chess. He can find his way around certain places, but don't know if he could find his way back. His mother, who I call Tinkerbell, starting today, that's her new name, is Tinkerbell now. Katie Payne Proudfoot. She's the one that was home with Sebastian. How do I say this? He was last seen to us on camera at the Roadhouse on February 25th, leaving around 6:24 p.m. if I'm not mistaken. 6:24 p.m. something like that. He left there. Supposedly arrived home in 9 minutes. Took out the trash. Supposedly went to bed. Last seen walking down the hall with black sweatpants and a black sweatshirt and his glasses on. And that was the last supposedly Katie ever saw her son, Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. His birthday is December 7th. He would now be 16 years old. It's December 7th. He's turned 16 December 7th. That's right. And I want to make sure I had that right. And he was reported missing on February 26, 2024. He lived with, like I said, Tinkerbell and his stepfather, Christopher Stinkyfoot. And he has a bio father named Seth Rogers that lives in Clarksville, Tennessee, and works for Sheriff's Department as a prison guard. And he gets Sebastian pretty much either every other weekend or pretty much when he wanted Sebastian. I think, and when Sebastian wanted to go, I think it was pretty relevant that they had a pretty mutual take him when you want to, whatever type thing, which is wonderful. He liked to fish, he liked to go bowling, he liked to play games, he loved Minecraft, his favorite color is green. He's just an all-around, I want to say 15 because he's 15 at the time, but he's an all-around 16-year-old young boy with autism that captured America, right? He captured the hearts of everyone here, pretty much. Everyone in the true crime world and more. And the last we saw was him eating, scarfing his food down. A lot of us had a lot of things to say, like Last Supper, a lot of things like that. We don't know that. We just, of course, we just say those things. But he looked hungry, and he was eating. And, of course, Katie Tinkerbell was looking around everywhere like somebody was stalking her and taking pictures of Sebastian while he was eating. And without him even knowing, right? That's the last we really saw, besides the green hoodie that supposedly got debunked, so we don't have to worry about green hoodie. And was seen pulling out of there around 6:24 and a few change seconds, 6:24:19, 6:24:30, something like that, 6:25, somewhere around there. Like I said, got home in 9 minutes roughly, took out the trash. Last seen walking down the hall, black sweatpants, like I said, black sweatshirt, black square frame glasses. So that's the last that we know anything other than the next morning at 6 a.m. when Tinkerbell went to wake him up. When she went to wake up Sebastian at 6 a.m., he was no longer in his room, or he was not in his room, let's say. So she went to see if he was in the kitchen. Maybe sometimes he said he gets up, makes a snack, makes early breakfast, whatever. Although she had to walk through the kitchen from her bedroom, she had to go back to the kitchen from his room to see if for some reason he might have been in the kitchen. Then she ran around, all the doors are locked, all the windows are locked. So she, he just was not there. She checked she checked in the closet because he likes to hide and pop out at you and kind of scare you, right? Like, he likes to do those things, and that's cool. Like hide and seek kind of stuff. And he was a big Minecraft, favorite color green, like I said. Just, all around good kid. Teachers loved him, counselors loved him, principals loved him. Didn't have a lot of friends, but I think that's more because of maybe his autism and how he, was adapting at that age. 16, a lot of hormones, a lot of things going on, right? He's going through a lot. So I'm sure he had some friends, and he was probably starting to make more friends. He'd only been in that area, I think, around 2 years maybe. So, it is what it is, right? But anyway, 6 o'clock, no Sebastian. By 6:03, she said she waited 3 minutes, called her husband, Mr. Stinkyfoot, and then she left the house to go look for him by the school, by here, by there, by whatever. Okay, right? We know that's what happened. Supposedly that's what happened. Then around 6:40, by this new one here, it does tell me, which is really surprising to me because I hope I don't pull that camera over again. Because it says here, one thing that I was wondering was the neighbor reported that they had seen someone resembling Sebastian near Newman's Trail around 4:45 a.m. They confirmed that was not him. And I think that may have been the mannequin or something. I don't really know. I know somebody said something about a mannequin in the beginning of this case. But if you go back to February 22nd, 2024, that was a Thursday. Sebastian talked to Seth Rogers. That's the last day I think he spoke to his father, was the 22nd of February. Then on the 24th of February, Sebastian and his mother, Tinkerbell, ate dinner at Costco's. It's like a Sam's Club. It's like a wholesale food market type thing for like restaurant. You can buy it like commercially and residentially. And that was on February 24th. And then on February 25th, 2024, which was the Sunday before Sebastian Rogers vanished into thin air, Sebastian and his mother, Katie, visited BJ's. It's like another place like Costco's, right? It's a big like wholesale place where you get food, clothes, things for the home, things like that, right? And then maybe it's mainly in bulk, like bulky items. Then they also went to the Strike and Spare. It says here at 6:30 p.m., Sebastian and his mother went to eat at the Texas Roadhouse before returning home around 8 p.m., it says. So I'm kind of lost here because if he left the restaurant at 6:25, why did they put in here they arrived home around 8 p.m., he took out the trash to the curb and went to bed. At 9, Sebastian went to bed. At 10 p.m., Katie was on the phone with Mr. Stinkyfoot. Okay? This is what this report shows here. Monday, February 26, 6 a.m. Katie, this is y'all gonna be surprised at what this thing says here. I just want to let you know before I start reading this. It says Sebastian we know went to bed, then 10, and then, okay, Monday, February 26th, 6 a.m. It says, Katie called Chris to inform him that Sebastian was not in the house and she couldn't find him anywhere. Then it says here that Katie called the police, which we know that didn't happen. So I don't know why they're saying this, unless she had tried maybe a different number and it didn't work, knowing it wouldn't work. I don't know if this was all part of their thing, but by 6:03 a.m., she was on the phone with Christopher Prophet, which is what she said. Said she can't find him. He's not in the house. Then Chris and Katie together called law enforcement at 6:40 a.m. That's what this report says. Then a few minutes after that, Chris called and messaged Seth Rogers, which is the bio dad. Okay, so we know now that that happened. Okay, then we have, y'all know what happens from there, right? So let's go to the Amber Alert. When Amber Alerts are put out, they usually have whether the person missing was, last seen at their home or their whereabouts or a car. I think we discussed this a little bit today. So my biggest concern here is who witnessed this young man on the 26th of February? Usually witnesses are always put forward. Or they'll say witness saw Sebastian at so-and-so, right? At this time, right? We don't know any of that. So which is really, really confusing to me. And trying to work this backwards here, I'm trying to wonder, okay, who would have been the witness? If it would have been a camera, now, mind you, if it would have been a camera and this child would have been on foot, barefooted, they would have put those dogs in that area right then and there as soon as they found out where he was on camera, right? That we know that. They would have done that. They would have followed the trail, whether it led to a car, whether it led to something, then they would have been able to put that piece of the puzzle together, track the nearest cameras, find the vehicle. You know what I'm saying? Like they would have been able to do that. And they would have dang sure put the vehicle out. They do that on all Amber Alerts I've ever covered. If there's a vehicle involved, that vehicle's on there with the license plate, with the color of the car, usually year, make, and model of the car. Just like the last one we just covered in Aransas Pass. They put everything on there. That silver, Elantra, whatever, remember? Everything was on there. But, that was something that really bothered me because if you jump around to, who was it? March 15th, 2024. TBI released a statement. Says they were warning against sharing surveillance footage online. Remember that, guys? That they were saying that, right? This is when kind of like the Tinkerbell video and everything had kind of been out for a little bit. And I don't know if there was other stuff, but yet SF Investigate posts everything out there. And, I know that was later on, but March 21st is when Seth searched that park, remember? But that's not what I'm concerned about. What I'm concerned about is the tip. Because that tip came in evidently to Katie and Chris. Came from them. Somebody either let them know or something like that. Who did the tip come from to search 100 miles away? Or are they just sending him on a goose chase, right? That's what I did wonder. Just to get a search party out that way away from everything else. It's possible. On April 1st, that's when the glasses were found. Remember that? I'm going to touch some of these points because never does it say that the glasses were debunked. Doesn't say that. That's not how they put it in here. Right? We know that. If we go back and read it, we know that it doesn't say it's completely confirmed or not confirmed, right? They just say they couldn't prove that if it was his or not. They never really said whether it was his or not. So I'm wondering if those glasses have some relevance, right? That's kind of one thing I was wondering. And that was the 21st of March. We know he searched that park, and that's when JLR, I think, came out there with him and stuff, right? And he had his buddies out there. And then I want to say this one because they did say when Eric Craddock and them were speaking on the 26th, 27th, 28th, they were doing those little skits outside that command center. They kept telling everybody, please check your cameras. Well, if you had already seen him on the 26th, why are you pushing for everyone to check their camera? Why don't you designate an area, okay? Why didn't you say, okay, he was seen on Hollow Pike and whatever that neighborhood road is, right? Maybe the corner there or something. Give us a point of where. Or do we need the whole Hendersonville to give their cameras, right? I don't know. That the way they're putting it is just, that's why I wanted to go back and watch all these, because they do make a lot of sense, guys. It says also about the family. Remember when it says that the lady Peyton asks straight out to Mr. Craddock when him and I think Sonny were talking side by side, right? He says, she asked them, "Is it you think foul play is involved?" He said, "We have not ruled out foul play, right? We haven't ruled it out, and the family is cooperating now, like as of now, right? So what do we know? We know that they were cooperating then. Are they cooperating now? I don't know. That was then." But, that's something that did kind of throw a couple of red flags my way because of the way that they put that, right? And I got to add a log, guys. We're going to lose the fire. Hold on. I got a big one, too. I saved that big one just for y'all guys. I think I got all the notes off of here. Hold on. I think I was going to make sure I got everything off of here. February 26th, 6 a.m. Yeah, 6:40. Now we know it was roughly around 6:40 when he called the law, according to that article of timeline of events that they got. You got to remember, Peyton was getting everything from LE. So this is what she was putting out, is what she was getting from them. So she put out 6:40. So did the call come in at 6:33 or 6:40 a.m.? One thing I want to know, right? And some other things that I'm thinking about. His cell phone was on the bar, remember? And we didn't see him. Most teenagers when they have their cell phone, as we all know, as getting old, like we are getting old, right? As we know, this young generation, their phones are glued to their fingers, I think. And for him not to have it in there, why? Was there a reason he didn't have his phone with him? Like, most teenagers have their phone with them all the time. Why didn't he have his phone at the roadhouse? Why was his phone on the bar? Did he have his phone with him? I don't know. I wonder if they were able to track anywhere his phone went over those last few days, which we know now that they checked the house, they checked the cars. Sonny Weatherford said the house has been searched almost 10 times, as well as vehicles. So they searched their vehicles. Now, I don't know if they searched all the family, but we know they searched their vehicles. And they could have used a different vehicle. We know that, right? Allegedly, they could have. But, some of these things that are really sticking out is what was going on in those first days, right? Those first days of, 26th, 27th, all the way up to the 4th. Because we know there was 29 days. That was a leap year as well. So it was one extra day that year, right? So it was kind of a weird thing too, right, to be on leap year. Which one is this? This is March the 7th. March the 4th. Investigating the... Okay, March the 4th is when they announced the Kentucky landfill search, right? But this is something I wanted to go over. Thursday, March 7th, 2024. Authorities conducted a search of Hopkins County Regional Landfill in White Plains, Kentucky, which we knew about that, guys, remember? But they were already talking about it on the 4th of March. So they had already got the warrant way before that. But that's not what gets me. Y'all know how I felt on Sonny's statement after that was, really got me, because he said he felt like it was a disappointment, like a letdown, right? He was expecting more out of that search, which that always threw a big red flag to me. But, ooh, wow, that fire's pretty, ain't it? But, another thing that got me was, let's see, part of the landfill. Okay, yeah, here we go. The search was precautionary, right? Precautionary measures to eliminate possible options. So now you're having options here, right? Options of what? Did you check all their landfills around that area, or what did you do? But it says it eliminates possible options and questions, right? And then, I don't know. It's just really bugging me how they put that. But it offers the thing that to me is the news. When the helicopter was flying over that landfill, remember, it always bugged me because they had the tarps up, right? And there's a lot of people. When you see like the Leilani search, they're all out there side by side, no white tents, remember? Walking, looking through. They're not, not till they found the little bones did they cover it up. Just like in anything, the Manta case or any of these things that we've seen, when they put up tarps or little tents, preferably most of the time it's white ones, but when they do that, like the Gilgo Beach, like when they set those things up, there's a reason for that. They're not going to set all that stuff up just to search under it. No, they walk around everywhere out there. But that always, I wondered, were they specifically looking for their trash? That's what I'm wondering. Because trash does tell a lot about people, right? It really does. Think about that next time you throw something away. TBI said, Sebastian's parents have been cooperative throughout the investigation. This is when they were talking about the landfill and all that. All right, Friday, March 8th, 2024. No evidence related to the missing teen was found at the landfill in Kentucky. The search is over. And it did not, of course, lead to anything of the whereabouts or answer any questions to the whereabouts of missing Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. Okay? But it also disappointed Mr. Weatherford and the team because they thought that they were going to get a closure, remember, out of the landfill search. So this is another thing that's really bugging me. If they were expecting closure out of the landfill search, where was this boy seen last? In the area up there. All right, then we're going to skip Friday, March 15th. I did that one already, right? This is whenever they gave the statement in order to preserve the investigation. They could not discuss many of the specifics surrounding the case. But we know how many care about Sebastian and what is being done. That's something I always write down little things that stick to my head, right? They're discussing the specifics, but they can't share them with us, right? They can't share them with us and let us know what their findings are. Trying to see here. Thursday, March 21st. Okay, that's when he searched that park. Friday, March 22nd. Track down. Sebastian may have gone. 240 tips. Yeah, okay. They had 240 tips by the 22nd of March, guys. And this just shows about the vehicles being searched, the cell phone data. They had done all that to them. That was put out by Eric Craddock and Sonny Weatherford. And then Eric Craddock said here on Sunday night, early Monday morning, let's see, Eric Craddock, there's a lot of things that could have happened to Sebastian. This was in one of his little quick things. There's a lot of things that they had to look into that could have happened to Sebastian, right? What do you mean a lot of things? He vanished. But he didn't vanish because y'all saw him on camera somewhere. Or someone saw him, some witness. Somebody saw this boy on February 26th, guys. Y'all need to really focus on that. Someone saw this young man on February 26th. You know who else put that out? Nick Barris. Go look at his Facebook post on February 26th. See what he put out. He put it out. Nick Barris said he was seen in the early morning hours in that Hendersonville, in the Stafford Court area. And he was getting his information from the sheriff's office. So Craddock must have told him the same thing. He was seen in the early morning hours, which is what I had always been told. Right? It's there. Go read it. February 26th. Post on his channel, Nick Barris. Then we also have, he's not ruling out the foul play. He kept saying not ruling out foul play over and over in the beginning of this. Like every time the news people were asking him that. And he kept saying, we're not ruling it out, but we're not, saying there is. They're cooperating. And that's why I felt like, okay, they're cooperating so they were hoping they weren't going to be suspects, although they were suspects from day one. They just, there was 10 drones, 220 people, 12 K9 units, and what was the other one? February 27th. Oh, that's when, somebody said they saw, that morning someone said they had saw someone that looked like him on that Newman's Trail or whatever. Remember I told y'all that? But that was, oh my God, it took almost 30 minutes to go over that little bit of notes. But anyway, let's get down to some of this stuff here, because if we look at it as what could have possibly happened, right? That's how, all we want to know is what happened to this young man, right? We want the truth. But yet, man, they're keeping a tight lip, which is good, but not really, because they're tight-lipped, but they're not tight-lipped, right? They tell us they have information, but they won't tell us what it is, right? That's a way of like teasing us, I guess. I don't know, but it makes me wonder, how much do they really have, right? I've always felt like they got a whole mountain load of evidence, right? I felt that way. I still feel that way. I feel like for them to confidently say and put in an FBI freaking flyer and a reward of 50 grand that this young man was seen on the morning of February, in the early morning hours of February 26, 2024 in the Stafford Court area, they got a whole lot. But what I'm not understanding is who saw him. I don't believe they're saying they were thinking it was an abduction, or they would have put a car out there. So was he seen? But if he was seen on foot, then dogs would have found him, right? Like, it's like damned if you do, damned if you don't. And this is what they're leaving us with. It's like they're leaving us with a mess of a game of chess, right? Let's try to put the pieces together, right? Like, come on. But like Minecraft, right? Trying to build a dang village over here. Sebastian's army, right? And it's putting my head in such a crazy spot, because now with these, remains being found, literally 2 hours and 9 minutes from, as you can say, doorstep to doorstep, right? 2 hours and 9 minutes from doorstep to doorstep by your navigation. It's not very far, because we know that Papa Smurf had what? Or Papa Bear, he had, we'll just call him Papa Smurf. Hell, we call her Tinkerbell, we call him Papa Smurf. He had 17 hours, remember? Not technically 17 hours, because he'd had to drive over there 3 hours and whatever, 37 minutes, say. Unload his trailer, break it down an hour, come back. So that would have been, just say 3.5. We'll give him the 7, plus 1 is 8. Okay. And it took him 17. Or more. I still think it was more than 17, but we'll see. That basically gave him, man, oh man. You think you could go 2 hours? In 2 hours, that'd be, just say it was 2 hours. Just say it was 2 hours, 10 minutes. 2 hours, 10 minutes. We'll just call it 2.5. 2.5 from Hendersonville. It's not, but we'll just call it 2.5. That's 5 hours. So 5 and 8's 13. That still leaves 4 hours, guys. Y'all see how much time that leaves? That still leaves 4 hours unaccounted for. And that's if it was 17. I still think if we had way of checking camera footage, probably way more than 17. But I was thinking more like 23. And that's what I've heard a little bit. He was actually gone around 23 hours. But you also have to remember, he had some people with him. Who was it? Was his plan to get up there, let someone else in their truck pull that camper back towards Hendersonville, and him take off from there with Sebastian and go that way, and then meet back in the beginning of Hendersonville? Was that the plan? Or I don't know. Because he could have left his cell phone with anyone and took somebody else's cell phone, and it'll look like he was there the whole entire time. You see how that is? When you take somebody with you, you're basically generating another alibi for digital evidence, digital footprint. Because say that Terry did go with him, or his buddy or cousin or someone. Just say Joe Smo went with them, right? He left them at the camper. He put Sebastian in his truck and he left. He took Joe Smo's phone and left his phone with Joe Smo. Okay, cool. You're checking his phone. It looked like he was at that campground the entire time and he drove his way home. And it could have all been a setup from the start. He got there, he took off in somebody else's vehicle with Sebastian, left his truck there. Terry or Joe Smo, say, took down the camper, hung out a little while, gave him time to get ahead, give him about 4 or 5 hours to get ahead of them, 5 hours, say, get ahead of them. And then, boom, you both leave at the same time. You randomly meet back towards Hendersonville at that time. You swap the vehicles out. Boom, he pulls in like he's been driving back and forth. His phone is in his truck, so it looked like he was at the campground the entire time, then headed back. You see how that works? That's quick and easy too, right? Just give the phone to Joe Smo. You take Joe Smo's phone. Boom. See how easy that could be done? And that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't feel they should have never allowed him to go. And I'm wondering right now, if they'd have never allowed him to go get that camper, would we be sitting here today? You know what's really crazy? I don't think we would. If he would not have been able to leave, I don't think we'd be sitting here right now talking about, I think it would already be solved. That's how confident I feel that they have something big, right? And if I can come up with these little bitty things, what can they come up with, right? If I can sit here and try to map it out and see how would you switch phones, how would you leave your phone with someone and make it look like you're there, like, you know, it's all about trying to think outside the box, right? Okay, how could he have done this? And that would be my thought, right? Is that, say he supposedly took 2 people with him, but just say, let's just do it this way. Allegedly, remember, this is allegedly. Let's just say Kathy and Terry were at the house helping them, supporting them. Chris says, hey, I got to go get my camper. Is that cool? Law enforcement tells him, yeah. Terry jumps in, right? Remember, he's with Kathy over there. So they're in Kathy's car. He jumps in, right? The truck with Chris. They drive. He says, hey, drive by my house. So he drops him off, right, which is on the way. He drops Terry off at Terry's house. Terry gets in his truck and follows Chris. See how easy that was? Boom, boom. It's on the same path, too. So boom, boom, right? Then the law enforcement thinking, okay, these 2 are together, right? All Terry had to do was leave his phone in that truck with Chris, and it would look like both of them are riding in that truck. You get my point? And then, boom. That's it. And then who's to say? They don't know if Terry's riding around or what he's doing, right? So they get up there. Terry hooks up to the camper. Chris, Terry, Sebastian leaves. He's got plenty of time now. He's got all the time in the world because they probably already took the camper down. It's probably hooked up, ready to roll. Then his phone stays with Terry. Chris takes Terry's phone or an extra phone, whatever. It might have been a total extra phone. Terry might have kept both those phones and sent somebody else's phone with Chris that nobody even knew about. Another burner phone or something. And Chris took off. And then those 2 phones being together all that time, they don't know what truck the phones are in, right? They know that Terry's in Chris's truck pulling the camper and Chris is in Terry's truck, but they don't know Chris is in Terry's truck, right? They didn't search their vehicles. So they don't know. Now, if they've gone back and searched it, I'd like to know what they found. And that may be the big news that's coming down the pike. I don't know. But you know what's so crazy is they kept telling us they were going to give us an update. We were going to get all this new information. You know, Ellie said that. And then, boom, remains are found on the 12th, which is the date that we had kind of heard that was something was going to come out, was around the 12th. Here we go. We find this out on the 12th, knowing that it was found on, they were found on Saturday. But we didn't find out till Wednesday. Wonder why. Why they make us wait so long? I mean, they made us wait a while, right? I mean, it popped up a couple of different places, like the second day, not on Saturday. It was like Monday morning, I think, was the first time I saw it on something. But then that's why I was like, I don't know if that's real or not, because law enforcement hadn't technically put it out. Well, then when they put it out, like on Wednesday morning or Tuesday, I was like, wow. So it is true, right? That's when I kind of decided to make the video and talk a little bit about it. I was just kind of waiting on it to get vetted before I did it. Oh, no. Oh, we're not burning out. Oh, guys, I gotta get some more wood. Hold on. It's on the other side over here. I'm gonna take these out. Hold on. We're gonna knock that over. All right, guys. Sorry about that. All right. Anyway, y'all can't hear me yet. Now you can. All right. Anyway, sorry. I had to get some wood on there because I don't want our fire to go out. This is the only thing keeping us warm right now, ain't it? There we go. Now it'll burn. Ooh, that's hot. Anyway, all right. There we go. So you see what I'm saying? Like that could have worked that way. But let's get back to Tinkerbell. Because we got to remember, she was supposed to be alone, right? She was by herself, just her and Sebastian. So what transpired that night is what I'm wondering. Because there's so many different things. Like, I'm still going by what she told the neighbor that morning. I'm sorry, that's the story I'm stuck with. I don't care what she said on this show or that show or this platform or that platform. Because what she told the neighbor is most likely the truth. Because she wasn't telling herself to lie yet, right? So that's why I think she actually slipped and told the neighbor the truth. Because she told the neighbor that she dozed off on the couch and woke up at 11:30. And the neighbor can confirm that the light went off and the silhouette was in the window right around 11:30. So, I'm wondering if their phones were just somewhere on and they weren't even on them. Like, were they just keeping them on to make it look like an alibi? Like, you know what I'm saying? That's what I'm starting to wonder. You know, because if you're going to doze off, you could have sat your phone down and it looked like you were on it and they thought you were on it for a couple hours or whatever. And you might not have been on the phone at all. You might have just been sitting on the damn dresser or something. You know what I'm saying? So, think about that for a minute, right? Were they even talking on the phone? Because what are they going to talk about for 3 hours? CPS reports and the courts and am I going to get to come home or divorce or what the hell are you talking about for 3 hours with somebody that beats on your child that has autism and special needs? Like, what do you talk about? I mean, do you tell them what? I hate you, don't like you no more, quit beating my kid? I mean, I don't know what you do. Or you sitting there for 3 hours just yakking up your plan, right? Is he just like drilling in your head so you get it? And then you still slip up 3 or 4 different times and tell 3 or 4 different stories, right? It don't make no damn sense, man. God, it don't make no sense. But something has to change, right? Like, man, I figured right now something would have done. I'm curious. You know, that's the only thing I don't like about when remains are found like that. Found on Saturday, and yet it's Thursday, and they're still not nothing. Not even a simple update. At least the other landfill gave us a little bit of an update. But, you know, at first I thought that it could have been that silver alert. But that one was found 3 weeks ago. So it won't be that one. And that's one that I thought it could possibly be. Now, I know a lot of people are probably thinking Summer Wells or Layla Centinellos or... There's 2 other girls by the same name out of that area where Layla was from. Leslie's, I think. 2 Leslie's, I believe. There's so many in those areas, right? That's not, that little bitty area where this is, the Cumberland County, that's not a real big area, but, you know, it is a really big wildlife refuge. But what's so crazy is like where they were found was like an area that's not really well traveled. You know, it's like an older entrance that looked to me like on Google Earth, and that pipe gate is like shut and chained. Like nobody goes in that way. Like the weeds have done grown up on the road, right? It's not like the other road where it's pretty and it's white gravel and you can drive down it and it's no grass and weeds. It looks like an area that was not really used. And we know now that the law enforcement was called to the scene at 7:30 a.m. for those remains that were found by that entranceway there. When you look at Google Earth photos of that area, it's like the other road is here, then you have like a little ditch thing, and then it goes to that little other gate. But it's about, if they're saying it's right on the inside of that, that would be about 70 feet, 75 feet from the road, roughly, if it was found, and by what they were explaining, right? It looks like somebody would have not put them very far, but I guess if it's not a traveled area, then you're not going to need to put them far, because think about it. They haven't been found in how long? Their remains, that's it. But are they scattered remains? Are they partial remains? Are we talking one or two bones here, trigger warning? Or are we talking the majority of the bones? And was there clothing found? Was there any kind of necklace, jewelry, watch, socks, shoes? Was there anything of that nature found? Or was this just basically just remains found with nothing? I mean, if there's no clothing or nothing there, then most likely it's probably been there for an awful long time, right? And it's probably no way to be anybody close to the people that we're looking for other than Summer Wells. Well, Layla's been missing, about a year. So, yeah, Summer would be the only one if that's the case. But I think they would know if it was a small little set of remains. I think they would have said something about that, right? And I know they haven't set any age limit yet, but, there's all kind of speculation, I'm sure, flying around right now. I mean, it's somebody's child, right? It's somebody's loved one. So my condolences to the family, whoever this may be. Hopefully it gives answers to someone, right? I pray that that's what comes out of this. And whether, it's someone that, we're talking about on these channels, or whether it's someone that hasn't been talked about. And this is what I'm talking about when I say that, we can't cover all the cases out there. But what hurts my heart is that this could be someone that we never covered. And that's what hurts, because then you think, well, this poor person didn't get talked about, right? That's how I feel about it. And that's what bugs me. That's why I want to try to cover them all. I wish I could, and I'm working on a way to try to do that. Like, I need to get a schedule, but I understand my work schedule is so messed up right now because I'm not back on the water. Once I go back on the water, man, it'll be easy to make a schedule, because I'll know, right? I'll know exactly what my schedule is going to be. And so it'll be a little easier to kind of start doing the live stuff and making, times that I know I can make, right? Like right now, we bounce around so much. We get calls all the time. Will you come look for this? You come look for that? Will you help us, please? Well, we get a lot of calls from people around the state, here in my state. So, and like I said, we've been doing this, almost 9 years. So it's been a while, But, and then we got the new puppy coming in, I think like March the 21st, I think, something like that. It's like 5 more weeks, or 4.5, 5 more, somewhere around there. Because it was like 7 weeks, I think, whenever I found out that, we were going to get to get her for sure. So it's probably been maybe a week and a half, I guess, maybe 2 weeks. So yeah, I got at least 4 weeks left. I think it's sometime in the beginning of, like the middle of March, or right after the middle of March, somewhere around it. Maybe the 19th, it's something like that. But anyway, enough of that. But, it's like, how could they, this is such a short window, right? Like, that's what's getting me. Especially if this child was seen in the early morning hours. That's telling me probably between 2 a.m. and 5 a.m. Possibly 6 a.m. being early morning. Usually early morning is between 2 and 4. But, sometimes it could be 5, right? But if you think about that, man, she called they say they called at 6:30. That's such a short window. If it was 4, say that 4:45 one happened to be something, right? Say that may have been the possible sign and they just didn't want to say it yet or tell us. So if it was 4:45, you're talking an hour and 15 minutes before she went to wake him up. That's not much time. How far could they have possibly gotten? That's why I think it was sooner than that. I think it was more like midnight to 3 a.m., right? That would give, it's got to be that 3-hour window to me for him to get back if he is the one involved, right? So that's why I think it was more like 3 in the morning, which would put him back before he was needed to be in that crane. Probably about the exact, almost the time he needed to be. He probably had 15 minutes to stop by the camper before he had to be in that crane if he would have drove in. when he hung up with her a little before midnight. He could have made it. We know he could have done it in, what, 6.5 hours or so. 6 hours probably if you're hauling butt. I mean, you know, if you're on the move, you probably do it. I think JLR did it in, what, 3 hours or a little, like 2 hours and 57 minutes, something like that. A little less than 3 hours, a couple minutes less. So we know it can be done. But, you know, and then, of course, that wouldn't have bought him enough time to do something else. If this would beat Sebastian over there, then he would have had to do that the following day when he went to pick up the camper. But then again, would he have waited, right? Like, it's still some reason for that long trip. There's something to that long trip. To me, holds an answer, kind of like the Tinkerbell video. It holds a pretty big answer, I bet. And I'm still trying to figure out what, you know, I wish we could see the GPS, right? So we would know where that 17 hours was, how it was broke down. Was it really technically just a 3.5 hour drive to the campsite and he stopped? Well, he didn't have a camper going up there, so probably 3 hours. Say he got there in 3 hours. Did he just stay there the whole time and he never leave? I mean, we would never. I mean, they've seen the footage, so assuming that the camera showed him and not just his truck in Grainy, where, you know, somebody else could have been driving his truck, like Terry, right, or his cousin or somebody, or sister, right, or somebody. But what's so crazy about it is he was at a campsite, and then if that was him that took, you know, say that is Sebastian at that, you know, Roosevelt Wildlife, then that means he went from a campsite to a wildlife refuge campsite, right? Like campsite to campsite. I mean, I don't, I'm hoping not, I'm praying not, I'm praying this kid's put up somewhere, but, you know, I know we're not searching for someone put up in the woods, I get it, but I'm wondering, could it be, could it not? That's really not that far. It's far enough away for them to know that it's not going to get really searched, because that area wasn't really searched, I don't believe, for Sebastian. I know similar. I know I was at an area close to there, but I didn't really search that area. But there is another one that's like 4 miles from there that I did check because it has a body of water there. But because I bounced around all out in those areas, but I did 3 hours, like 3.5 hour circle, and then the next one was a 6 hour circle. Because of the 17 hours, I knew that I could, you know, maybe go as far as this far. But I looked for areas like this wildlife refuge, things that I know were kind of remote and not a lot of travel. That's kind of why I chose some of those areas. But, you know, I'm anxious to see who this is going to be. It's going to be someone's loved one, and that hurts. But I don't know, guys. What do y'all think? I'm at a point now. How did we lose it? Oh, we didn't lose the fire. It's burning. It's burning. I knew it was burning. It's just outside was propped up so you couldn't see it. But, you know, we have to just keep our prayers up for this young man because something happened to him. He didn't vanish on his own. I don't believe he walked out of that house. I mean, if you really think he walked out of that house, then tell me the dog trail. Because unless he would have put Ziploc baggies and duct tape all around his feet and ankles and sprayed himself with perfume or not cologne and you know, that'd be maybe the only way he could have got out of there without being picked up by dogs, right? Would be to have put something like trash bags or something on his feet. And I mean, because barefoot, he wouldn't have made it very far. He wouldn't have made it very far at all. But, you know, this thing might end up having a twist to it. We don't know yet. A lot of these lately seem to have a twist, right? Well, at least Megan is going to pretty much be in there for her rest of her natural life, you know. She might get out when she's ancient old, but she's not going to get out anytime soon. And if you notice, these justice things keep popping, right? That's why I'm hoping that this one's going to pop too. But I really would like for them to, if they're doing this, and they know some of these answers and they're just trying to find him and that's why they haven't done it yet, then I respect that. Because it's if you never find him, you never get closure. Kind of like Suzanne Simpson, right? I've searched my butt off for that woman. And like, she can't be very far, right? He couldn't have got very far, but yet we just can't find her. And it goes to show you, sometimes you could be so close, but yet so far away. Right? Like those remains that were found in that area. How many people might have hiked right by there and never even saw it? And it's that simple. It can happen just that easy. But anyway, oh my God, almost an hour, guys. Holy moly, I'm getting longer and longer for Sebastian. I could go on about this young man forever. I could, but you know, I did not realize it was this long. I'm gonna run out of battery. Anyway, guys, let's just keep the focus up because something happened that morning, or that early that morning, and sometime after midnight, I believe. Unless it was 10. But then that wouldn't explain the Tinkerbell video being at 3. Unless for some reason, well, no, because they did back up the trash truck to determine around 2:58 a.m. So, it does line up with what a lot of us think, right? That is Mr. Stinkyfoot, right? It does line up. Because if he hung up a little before midnight, then that would put him there right at that time, especially if he was getting on it. Think about what I just said. If he hung up at midnight and left at midnight, I think it took JLR 2 hours and 58 minutes. That car pulled up at 2:58. So that could be right exactly like to the minute almost about what it takes. So I don't know. But you would think that the cameras would have picked up a truck or something somewhere on a highway or a license plate reader. And maybe they do have it. I don't know. They might have so much that we don't even realize, right? But we also have to look at it as they might not. They said they talked to every vehicle that was in those areas from when he went missing. So that's telling me from that evening when he was, home, say from probably 8 p.m. They probably watched tape from probably 6:30 p.m. to 6 o'clock a.m. or 6:30 a.m., right? So that 12-hour window, they've said they've tracked down every car that was in the area. So that means that they were able to clear that video up enough to find out what the Tinkerbell car is. But who is it? Did they utilize somebody like, is there something different to the story that we don't know? Did she tell them, hey, he did leave the house, like 1 or 2 in the morning, and we went and looked for him, but we couldn't find him. You're going to see us on the flashlight video. We don't know what they told him. We know that they can't share everything that they know. So what if? What if it is her that said, hey, he did leave the house at midnight, and I looked for him, and, my mother-in-law came and helped, but we just couldn't find him. And that's why you're going to see the flashlights. Or, we don't know. And that would not surprise me if they did that too. But I don't know. I guess we'll see, guys. But anyway, I'm going to get out of here because it's getting cold. Fire's going down. We all had a good night. A good fire chat. So y'all be good. Y'all be safe. We love y'all, guys. We'll see y'all on the next one. Tomorrow we should hopefully be... I'm not going to tell you exactly where I'm landing, but it's not Hendersonville, but it's close. Anyway, y'all guys be good. Be safe. We love y'all, guys. Remember, trigger warning times 100 million. Justice for Sebastian, Wayne, Drake Rogers. We have to keep up the fight for the truth for this young man. He must be found, right? We can't give up until he's found, Hopefully it won't take as long as Summers has taken so far, but, I think arrests will be coming soon. I feel somebody. I'm not saying who. I don't know who. It could be somebody totally opposite. What if neither one of them do and one of the step-parents do, right? We don't know. But I believe it'll be more than one, and it might be that they just arrest them for neglect and for abuse, right? CPS and all those reports, right? That may be what it is. We don't know. Anyway, guys, we'll see y'all tomorrow night. We'll chat some more. I don't know, maybe tomorrow night. But you'll see us tomorrow during the day for sure for some search footage. I'm sure we'll drop a little bit here and there tomorrow. So y'all guys be good, be safe. We love y'all guys. We'll talk on the next one. Prayers to all the missing, all the voiceless. They need us, guys. They do. And we love y'all guys so much. Thank y'all all so much for all the wonderful comments always and having our back and supporting us always. And we got the app finally downloaded for the live. Now I just got to go in and start trying to learn how to set everything up. I was hoping that maybe to surprise y'all with some of this week's off, maybe try to do 1 or 2 little live, and I'm going to work on it. So I might work on some of that. If I end up staying the night over there one night, I might work on that in the hotel or something, try to see if I can figure out how to put everything on and get the live to go and schedule and all that. I'll work on it. But searching's more important to me right now. So we'll see. All right, guys. Talk soon.